Welcome to the Sales Genius Podcast and the War Games Group. Today, we're diving into the world of startups innovation with none other than Frederick Cary, the entrepreneurial force behind IdeaPros. So you'll want to pay attention to that, IdeaPros.com. Okay, Fred's career is a master class in breaking the mold. Okay, as a person who believes never be normal people get normal paychecks, it's going to go right in line with what Fred's bringing for you. He's got a personal brand that boldly states, fuck average, be legendary. Oh, did I forget to mention that there was going to be cursing? As a mentor, innovator, and a leader, Fred has shaped the futures of countless entrepreneurs, guiding them through the complexities of a startup ecosystem. Today, he's here to share a little bit of his journey and the lessons learned and how IdeaPros is changing the game for those first-time entrepreneurs. So let's get ready for an episode packed with actionable insights and inspiration. You're going to love it. Let's get going.
Welcome to War Games, hosted by the sales genius Joe Ingram. If you're looking to win the sales battle, then you have joined the right team. In the War Games Group, we devise strategies for sales, marketing, branding, mindset, and attitude. We enlist the assistance from the most successful producers across all industries. We then share their knowledge and techniques with you. Our single goal is to get you ready for your next sales opportunity. When it comes to crossing the minefield of sales, step in the footprints of those that have crossed before you. Now, prepare yourself for boot camp and beyond. It's time for the War Games to begin.
Hi, everybody. Let me bring some VIPs on the stage. Bob Donnell is with us. JR Arsenal is here as well. Welcome, gentlemen. I'm going to bring on our guest, right? The don't be average kind of guy, Fred Cary. Fred, welcome. We're
Hey,
switch places right now. Boom.
happy to be here. Really happy to be here.
Now, you did say you have a trademark for the title.
Yeah, fuck average. Yeah, I have registered trademark. The trademark office felt that anybody bold enough to ask should get it, I guess.
Yeah, they said, well, the average guy won't, so fuck average. Let's give it to him.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so fantastic. I would love to dive in, and I know you can tell your story in a couple minutes to go through because I want everybody to know who you are. But what we really want to get to is the brain that thinks differently and says fuck average, because we want to do that. So if you could just entitle us and enlighten us a little.
Yeah. Like most of you watching, I became an entrepreneur basically because nobody would have me. I thought differently. I didn't follow all the rules, and I didn't want to be normal and get my normal paycheck and save up for my retirement and have that money to spend when I was too old to use it. So from the time I was 20 years old, I started creating companies, not knowing what I was doing, but knowing that if I worked hard enough, I was going to be able to get somewhere. So people often ask me when I made my first $1 million, and I tell them I made it 2 years before I lost it all. And that's kind of the recipe for entrepreneurship, betting all in, going all the way, and seeing if you can make it stick, you can make it work. And I've done that 10 times. I started 10 different companies before IdeaPros, and 2 of them became public under my tutelage. 2 others were acquired by public companies. I have a private one now still called Imagine Communications. That one does close to $1 billion a year. And all of them started out with one idea and one pen and one little piece of paper to get it started.
That's fantastic. Up near a bill. 9 figures is an impressive place to be sitting, to say, look what's coming up. I love that. And so I think from your perspective, just from that little bit you shared, you've got some stuff that could help somebody who's a a brand new entrepreneur, somebody who's maybe got in the middle of it. Maybe they capped out at those 6 figures, right? And they basically got themselves a job instead of, an actual business. But can you share with us exactly what is, IdeaPros? How can it implement? What can we learn from Fred that's going to take us to the next level?
Yeah, and by the way, I'm already. I said I wasn't going to look, but I already seen some of the comments and,
Yes.
and imagination. There you go. Is the highest level of skill. Absolutely. And that's, in fact, I have a post. You better not be my post writer, because I have a post coming out tomorrow that basically says that you can be a perfectionist or you can use your imagination and jump in there. And the perfectionist ends up, like you said, getting to the 6 figures and then going back to the day job because they can't go any further. Look, every one of us, I can guarantee all of you, if you listen to this, I can guarantee you all one thing that you will take with you forever. Ready?
Ready.
We're all going to lose and we're all going to fail. The entrepreneurship journey is like that. It is a diamond that you're finding in the road ahead of you that's telling you, you know what, asshole, you can't do it that way. Find some other way to do it. Most of us, when we hit that roadblock, when we hit that stopping point, that's where we turn around and go back, go to mommy or go to your employer, go back to what you're programmed to do all your life from when you were a child. It's those of us who can see that little piece of coal and clutch it hard enough to turn it into a diamond. I love that analogy. I just made that one up.
It's recorded, so we got it. You own it. Yes.
Oh, good. I'm going to register that bitch too. So anyway, the ones that can keep going on when you have those failures, those are the ones that succeed. And if you look at anybody that you admire nowadays and look at the struggles they've been through, we all see these billionaires now or these companies that are doing really well. I challenge you to pick any one of them and you'll see some nightmares on that path to success. So embrace the suck, basically, because it's part of the game and it's part of turning your good idea into a great idea.
Agreed. Okay. Fantastic. So we know we're going to fail. We got that going for us. Right. So now, again, I got Tyler is the one that's not your actual post maker, but the guy who came up with it. Right. So he's from the future per Brian. That one's Tyler. He's incognito. But so in looking at what you do, so if we're going to fail, what are some of the key things that you, and again, don't give away the farm. We still want them to go check out IdeaPros and work with you. But when I look at that and say, what are some of the things they need to be looking at? Like, again, you've started businesses, failed. I've started businesses and failed. I've got to the point where I'm like, man, this was painful. I don't want to do it again. And then I find myself back there again or building that side hustle and stuff. What's the trick to finding the right one that you can wrap yourself into?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of tricks to do that, but I just want to go back to the fail thing for a minute. The reason I point that out is because you're in good company. A lot of times when we fail, we're like, fuck, this is not for me, and my parents told me not to do it, or my wife said I'm an idiot and it didn't work out for me. You're in good company. We all do that. We all go through that. And again, it's part of the mandatory journey towards creating something that didn't exist before. Like, who the hell gets it right the first time? Nobody. So if you can embrace that as part of the journey, then you can get to the point of your question. What can you do to find that gem, to find that right path? The very first thing you can do is study. If you look at in America, the number one failure point for new entrepreneurial businesses, it's not a lack of money. It's that they've created something that there's no demand for. How pathetic is that? Let me give you an example just to see how stupid we are when we go out in the field of e-commerce or technology or whatever your chosen profession is. Imagine you're asked to be the coach of a professional sports team. And the person who asks you basically is sitting there begging you to be this coach for this team. And you ask, what sport is it? And they tell you, I don't know. Well, what are the rules? I don't have an idea. Who are the opponents? What are their strengths? What are their weak spots? Not sure about that either. Well, certainly there's going to be a crowd there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they're
there
all
is.
lining up for that one. Yeah, sign me up.
So, so the reality is that's how we approach our businesses. We don't know any of the rules. We don't know how the game is played. We don't know the opponents, their strong suit, their weaknesses, and we go blindly onto that playing field, about to get slaughtered because we don't know what we're doing. So the very first key to success is being able to do your homework, to understand what's going on. We have a program at IdeaPros that I didn't want to pitch for money, but for a couple grand, you get like a 70-page report that tells you everything about your industry, the growth, the opportunities, the competitors, the weak spots, how you're differentiated, what your customer personas are, how you're going to go to market, tactics you can try, even creating pitch decks and your elevator pitch, go to market strategies, all of that for a couple of grand. And we don't do any of it. We just go march forward. And so we're very ill prepared. So whether you use IdeaPros or whether you do it on your own, because
I want to jump in too, Fred, because again, a couple grand.
Yeah.
That's nothing compared to all the time you're going to waste trying to do it yourself. Or where you jump in by mistake and you're doing hey, let's go run some ads, right? You go, I'm going to go learn some ads and I'll run them and do that. And then we go, damn, we failed. Yeah. Right. Exactly. And I just built 4 hours worth of an Instagram profile that has nothing to do to attract the right person. Again, if you start quantifying your time, and if you look back to, hey, I'm actually, if I was getting paid at my job, how much per hour is there? Now I am my own boss and I discount my time to say it's worth nothing, right? That's the pain point. And then we forget about that. Then somebody goes, couple grand. Guys, couple grand is nothing. You're in business and you're serious. Come on.
Yeah, but guys, it's a huge opportunity cost if you don't do it. Because they've already made all the mistakes. They've compressed. Look, you're compressing time with dollars. It's the only time in your life where you can buy time and experience and everything for a couple of G's. Are you kidding? How long is it going to take to get to that point? Do you even know what an elevator speech is? Do you even know what the elements that he said that he's going to provide are?
Right.
And they're experts at it.
The
thing that that hit me, Fred, really quickly, and I promise, Joe, it'll be quick.
50-50, Fred.
Yeah. Maybe 25-75. Joe's in a good mood today. Yeah. But selling the value and creating a much higher level product rather than spend all that time. Very guilty here. Degree in marketing, started it, and the rest is history, sort of. Which was all profit. But spending all the time with, I'm going to do all these funnels, and all this stuff. And it's part of it. But get a Fred Cary or someone to do that. Make the best freaking mousetrap in the world. Plus, it catches rats. Plus, plus. And just let everybody do what they're going to do and let Fred do his thing. And no, I'm not connected with Fred, although I will give you my email later on, Fred.
Okay, awesome. The thing is that even you mentioned Instagram, like even Instagram, we're the essence of selling is not selling. Right. The essence of having a great business that's really growing is finding out what your customer, your client really, really wants and letting them have this opportunity to have it. And we do our Instagram posts and we go on and we have a new business. Hey, this is Joe from Joe's New Business. And I'm great. And I'd like to talk to you every once in a while. Nobody cares about that shit. If you're an Instagram poster and you need to write content, you need to think about the content you're creating, because is it something you would share with your friends? If it's not, then don't post it. Get some professionals to work with you. And even most of the professionals don't do it right. We have once a month, I have a meeting I have 400 companies now that we own 30% of the startups that I help create. And once a month, I have a board meeting with all of them. But then twice a month, I have something called Pitchcraft, really teaching people how to pitch properly to their audience or to investors if they're going to go out and get investors. And one of the things I talk about is this ability to communicate with your audience. We have one guy that started a company that is basically, it's a great thing. His opening line in describing his company is Airbnb rents out 10% of the world. I have the other 90%. And his app rents open spaces. Like if you're hunting, farming, fishing, if you want to go on even just rent space around a stadium for sports events, it's all about open spaces. And he was saying, I got on Instagram and I got some posts and nobody's watching. And I had him reenact his post, and it's pathetic. It's just me talking to you just like this. And instead I said, imagine you all dressed up in hunting gear with a rifle and wire cutters and sitting up next to a private property fence and digging through that fence and having the police come and then say, hey, with my app, you don't need to worry about that anymore. Tell a story that people get engaged into and then talk about your product. And we don't do that with anything we do. We think people should come to us and buy from us because we're cool, and we're not.
Boom. Boom. Do you like that, JR? He's called you out. You're not cool.
I knew that before the show, but thanks for reminding me, Jay.
You out.
Yes. So you've enlightened a couple of them, but one of my things was, with your vast experience that you have, what are the most common pitfalls that you see people do? Besides, for one, they're not doing their homework, right? Second, they're out there spending their money on the wrong things, right? Or focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah. I think one of the next things is the least expected of them, because it only happens when you have success. And that is, we never try to make ourselves obsolete. And it's the most important thing you can do. The more successful you get, the more people are going to start following you. Not good people, your competitors that want to see what you're up to, why you're getting so many customers. What is it that you're doing that they can do and maybe even do better? And we don't think about that. We just like, wow, I'm successful. I can get my Ferrari now. I can get this or I can get that. And all of a sudden, a year down the road, you're becoming obsolete because you didn't make yourself obsolete. Your competitors did. So as you get successful, you need to start thinking, what can I do different? How can I make what I have now suck? And if I can find out how I can do that, then I can make the next great thing. And we don't do that. And we rest on those laurels. And all of a sudden, boom, we're swept away like Royal typewriter.
Royal typewriter. Wow. And luckily all three of us understand what that meant. Yes.
Does anybody know what a typewriter is out there, guys?
Tyler had a question. So what about your overstudying where it creates paralysis?
Yeah, that's a perfectionist thing I was talking about before. You're creating something new, so you're never going to be prepared. And you're creating something that, if you can get it out there, you can find out what your audience wants and build towards that. The CEO of LinkedIn famously said, although nobody's heard it, if you're not embarrassed by your first product launch, you've waited too long. And that's the reality of it. Don't think that you know what everybody else in the world wants. Get the core value proposition of what you have and get that out. When Instagram first came out, they had 2 photos and they had to be squared, and you could like them, you couldn't comment, you couldn't forward them, you could share them, you couldn't do any of those things, hardly anything. And 3 years later, with 13 employees and no revenue, they got acquired for $1 billion because they got people what they wanted. And they started building out Instagram based upon the reaction they were getting from their audience. So don't go the perfectionist way. Figure out and use your research, like what I can give you or what anybody can get if they go online and study long enough. Get your research to find your core value proposition, get out there and let your audience speak to you, about the bells and whistles that you should have. 9 times out of 10, you're wrong with what you think they want.
Fantastic. And that was Flo who asked about the paralysis. Sorry. The Facebook users, I don't know. But
Oh,
she
no,
does
somebody has a Royal typewriter. Cool.
So Ron Siegel said at that valuation, Trust Social is pretty cheap. So if you're going to go out and use that, yes. So, but he doesn't know what a typewriter is, right? It's before his time. Yeah, he's older than all of us. But so in looking, so one of the things I look at and say, okay, you're sitting back now. Again, your motto, right? Your fuck it, let's not be average kind of person, right?
Yeah.
When you look at that and you come back with that, it has to put off certain people, right? And it has to attract others, like those of us here, where we're like, oh my goodness, that sounds phenomenal. We need to definitely get into that, right? Fuck average, be legendary, right? That's when you look at that. How do you instill that into the people that you work with, right? Because I look at that and say that has to be a learning curve with it, where they may like it, may not completely believe it, right? Kind of thing. Or is it so polarizing that the ones that are coming in are already going, I'm in?
Yeah. It does wake you up. But the reality is, no matter what type of person you are, and there's exceptions, but mostly we want to have extraordinary lives. And that's what fuck average is all about. We all want to have extraordinary lives. We want to have the bigger house, the better car, the nicer wife or husband, perfect kids. We all want trips around the world whenever we want. We all kind of want those things at different levels. But we want these extraordinary things. But when you go to bed at night, when you put your head on that pillow, what's one little tiny extraordinary thing you did today? And that's my whole motto. It's not taking this big leap, I'm going to be legendary. No, it's do little extraordinary things. What is an extraordinary thing? All right, well, for the last 5 years, I've been dreaming about starting this business. Take that first step today of that. You don't have to start the business. Take the first step towards doing it. Where should I incorporate? That could be a good first step, right? That's the one little extraordinary thing you did today that you didn't do yesterday or for the beginning of your life till now. And if you take those little extraordinary things and do one little one every single day, pretty soon your life's going to become legendary, because that repetitive pattern of going outside of your comfort zone, which I call quicksand, gets you to the place where you really want to be. If you don't take that first step, you never get there.
Yes. And sorry, I'm distracting you because I'm dropping in the link to the insider checklist. So,
you got it.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was like, oh, yes. So I was out there, cyber stalking you as we go.
Oh, good.
So,
well, that insider checklist is really cool, because if you sign up for that, it's free membership. You sign up for that, you're going to get the whole checklist of the things that you need to know. And every day for the next 7 days, you get another email and a video from me going deep in each one of those things. And at the end, you're a free member. As I said, 2-3 times a month, we have different workshops, 2-hour workshops, completely free. Go in there, learn about your craft, and we'll help you be a better entrepreneur.
That's fantastic. And guys, we all need that, right? I would love to say that we can sit back and go, you don't understand. I've got my business. It's running. It's doing pretty well. The absolute truth is, if you believe you're already done, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can tell you the reason why. It's because you haven't sold it yet. Right.
No exit.
You got it big enough when somebody comes to write you a big old check and then says, and stick around to help us keep running it. Okay.
Yeah. Then you can start figuring out your next business.
Right. And go through. And again, you should be using the same insider checklist to get yourself to go forward. So, Fred, thank you for that. I did write down big time that we are going to fail, right? That's something that, again, I believe we're taught growing up that it's wrong and it's bad, as opposed to it's defining, right? And it's going to push you in the right direction. If you fail at a lot of stuff, then, that's not a bad thing. It's a whole bunch of stuff that maybe you could get better at, or right, that you shouldn't be spending your time on.
Yeah. Hey, Michael Jordan missed more baskets than almost any basketball player.
Right. And again, because he continued to keep practicing and going through, which is back to you do your homework, right? Get into that and find that one.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to ask you real quick, because we're coming up on that half-hour mark, and I don't want to occupy more time than I deserve to be with you. Fred, give me one thing that somebody needs to walk out of this at the end today and say, you know what? Go do this first, right? That you think would make a difference.
Yeah. Well, thanks for not putting me on the spot.
No, not at all. Not at all. You know, JR's got an answer, but we only have 27 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. To get there.
And 46 seconds.
I think that the biggest thing that any of us can do, any of you can do, is go look at yourself in the mirror and congratulate yourself for, number one, being here. Because if you're here, you're already looking to do things in a better way. And once you do that, once you start having that belief in yourself, then start doing the physical things that you need to do along with the mental things to start moving forward to where you want to go. It's not that hard. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to have a lot of setbacks. But if you put your head down and keep going, you're going to get there. So acknowledge yourself in the mirror. Acknowledge how awesome you are. Start that journey right now.
Fantastic. Thank you. See, and you act like I put you on the spot, and then you come up and drop gold like that. Like, oh no, was that genius in me all the time? Oh, I don't know. Yes. But yes, fantastic. Thank you so much. Bob, any question for Fred?
Yeah, thanks, Fred. Appreciate the information. My question to you is, what have you seen as the biggest failure for yourself, and how did you recover?
Well, I've had a shit ton of failures, for sure. And I don't think I've ever recovered. I've moved on and not treated them as failures. I think here's a great example. I had a company called Boxlot. I tried to compete against eBay. I started about 8 or 9 months after them and couldn't catch up. We had better products, we had better offerings, we had better technology, and just they were eating my lunch every single day. People had invested about $8 million into me, and I was ready to shut the doors down. And then I really started thinking about the space, and the technology for auctions was not robust at all. And so we spent the next 12 months really building a technology company instead of an auction company. Everything bid or buy, reverse bidding, notifications when you've been outbid, incremental bidding. We built all that stuff, and we got acquired 12 months later for $125 million. And so that's a big, massive failure that we turned into a pretty nice payday.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for sharing that.
I love that. That's phenomenal. So Ron Siegel wants you not to tell me to ignore how awesome I am. Yes. And so Flo did say, thanks for being vulnerable and sharing. Right. And I think once you've achieved certain levels of success and you know that there was a lot of crap at the bottom and what have you, I think it becomes easier to be vulnerable, because so many people that haven't got to the point of excessive failure and excessive success, right? They believe they can only show the success. And
those are boring people.
Yeah.
You know, because when you, and thanks for the vulnerability comment. I want to say something about that. Whoever you are, wherever you are in your career path, if you want people to listen to you, understand you, and maybe even learn from you, you can't go in there like you're this prince or king and you don't do anything wrong. You never made a mistake, and you show up with your royal trident. You know, we have all fucked up many, many, many times. And when we've all, like I said, first time I made my million was 2 years before I lost my first million. And we've all had terrible things happen to us, even the best of the best in our eyes. And if you want to reach people, communicate on a real level and show your good points, show your bad points, because people can learn even more if they believe they can do it. And they won't believe that they can do it if you come off as this flawless person that's never done anything wrong. Be real, be who you really are, and that's something that people can learn from.
So even if I am flawless,
Exactly.
I don't want to come off that way. I got it.
I spoke to your ex-wife, and she does not.
Oh, she's got a list. She's got a list. Yes. Perfect. JR, do you have something?
No, this has been great, Fred. Challenges that the small entrepreneur, I don't look at it as failures. I look at failures as stopping and giving up.
Yeah.
When there's no real roadblock. You're not born with this, so you got to learn it somehow. So they're challenges. It's not words, it's a paradigm shift. And it's not gap that you missed, it's gain that you didn't know before. Gap versus gain.
Yeah.
That would be a title for a book somewhere. Gee, I guess it is.
Could be, yes.
Well, I think I have it right here.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love that.
Copyright. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
yeah.
I just love your approach to keep it coming. Multiple streams, be entrepreneurial, and work outside the box. I love it.
Yeah. Not only that, destroy the fucking box. Hey, by the way, I'd like, if people don't mind, following me on my Instagram page, because that, if you want to get started with 1 minute a day, it's official Fred Cary, Cary. I have about 500,000 entrepreneurs on there following me, and again, just a minute every day. Take a peek while you're scrolling through, and I'll give you words of encouragement, advice, and things to help you with your personal development, no matter what you're trying to do.
Official
Fred Cary, Cary.
Official Fred Cary. Yep, 546,000 followers for those that are on the video. That's what you're looking for.
Sweet.
So fantastic. Followed. Appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
And so, and everybody, I do want to say thank you again, Fred, for coming up. Thank you for the VIPs to be on the screen and ask the questions. JR, I do know that a paradigm is 20 cents. And so I'm going to have to tell everybody, look, it's been great. And we'll see you on the next episode, but go out and sell something.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.